it's Alex. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's Friday sews. Oh, it's been a while. I think it's been 2, if not 3 weeks since I've had a chance to do a video. Had a lot going on family-wise. We've moved mother-in-law, kids all came home for Easter. Honestly, it has been mayhem. I have only just in the last week started to do a little bit of sewing again. There was a whole 10 days that I didn't even step foot in this room, and that is really not like me. Anyway, I am here now. I've got a couple of things to show you, including this dress that I wore on Saturday to the gathering, which was a sewing meetup over in Yorkshire. It was run by Sam Frugalissima and Ali, who is Thimbers, who was on the sewing bit a few years ago. And yeah, the sewing community does love a pun type name, doesn't it? The Gathering. But yeah, so Yorkshire is only, or the venue was only just over an hour's drive away from where I am here. But I decided to stay over. Lots of people did, just so I didn't have to drive back late at night, tired. I'm normally tucked up in bed by about 10:30. You know, midnight is way, way beyond my normal time scale. So yeah, so I have shown you this fabric and I have shown you the pattern, but I made them just before kind of mayhem struck, so it was a couple of weeks ago now. It is the Maison Fauve Soho dress. It was a paper pattern, which it's been a really long time since I've had a paper pattern. I had that whole dilemma about whether to trace, and I am way too lazy for tracing. But you know, the skinflint in me really wanted to trace, just because, like lots of people, my weight is always fluctuating. But I decided not to. I was, yeah, the lazy side overtook the skinflint side, and I just cut straight into it, which felt kind of a bit naughty. Anyway, paper pattern. It was one that I bought with the voucher that I won from the Sew Over 50 competition, and the voucher was from the Fold line. I really liked sewing the pattern, and I really love this fabric. Got lots of compliments on Saturday. I have to say, I was absolutely rubbish at documenting that meetup. I had all these plans in my mind. I didn't even take one photograph. A few other people took photographs, as the odd one with me sneaking in at the side, but no, absolutely rubbish. I mean, I didn't even do a mirror selfie. You'd have thought I'd at least done that, but no. So this fabric came from Bornella Fabrics, and I had to have it when I saw it. I mean, it's so me, and it was so perfect for this dress because it's a viscose, but it has got a bit of a jacquard weave to it. So there's a little, I think it's like little spotties that you can see when you get close up to it. Obviously, they're my kind of colours. And I just felt the kind of drapiness of it was just right for this wrap dress. The dress was a little fiddly, and those fiddly things were not to do with the pattern per se, they were to do with me. I made a straight size 40, which strictly speaking, as per with me, I should have graded up at the waist. I was sort of the next size up for my waist measurement. But luckily they do provide the finished garment measurements, and I could see that there was enough ease in there to get away with not having to do any grading. So I just cut the straight, literally, cut the straight size 40, and I feel like it fits pretty well actually. So yeah, that really wasn't a problem. It's quite a good size range. It goes up to a size 24, probably from a 6 or an 8. I didn't make a note of what that size 24 measurement is, but you know, given that it's a French pattern company, and the French pattern companies are often really have a very limited size range, I'm pretty impressed with that. So that's really good. The instructions also come with a sew along or a tutorial. There's a little QR code in the pattern booklet. You see, even that felt really old-fashioned to me, reading my pattern instructions in a booklet, because normally I get PDFs and I just read them on my computer. It was quite nice though. So yes, instructions were great, but yeah, QR code for a YouTube tutorial, or I guess there's a YouTube link. I'll be honest, I didn't even look at it. I found that the instructions were thorough enough, gave me all the information that I needed, so I really didn't feel the need to go and have a look at the tutorial. But for anybody that might be a little bit nervous about making it, you've got that as backup. The instructions are bilingual, so French and English, and it came together really nicely. I really like the V-neck. Now I am literally demonstrating one of the issues I have. I've got a bit of a problem with the facing wanting to turn out and escape, and I have understitched it, so it shouldn't do that. I think potentially what I could do with is a little internal hook or button or press stud or something, just to keep that straight at the front, and then potentially the facing wouldn't escape. Really nice, but I did have to make some changes. So the ties are attached. They're not the, you know, with a wrap dress usually you've got ties that kind of come through one side with a little buttonhole, don't you, and they, you know, you can pull them as tight or as loose as you want. The ties are sandwiched on this side, the inner side, they're sandwiched into the dart there, and on the external side they're on the edge of that front pattern piece. So when I put it on, I found that the darts, but more importantly the ties, were too low on me, and they sat, it was just, I kind of thought I'll just ignore it, it'll be fine, but it looked odd, and I had to move them probably about 2.5 centimetres, but I did have to move the ties up. So whilst on this side, this side where it's sandwiched into the dart, obviously I didn't want to move the dart position. So what I did was I just lengthened the dart. I increased the length of the dart upwards in order to accommodate the tie. Obviously I had to unpick it. Unpicking viscose is a bit of a pain, isn't it? Because you end up pulling some of the fibres, so that was a bit of a pain. So that was fine on that side, but on this side, the dart is, the tie, careful not to undo my dress entirely, is attached at the front piece here. So you've got the diagonal of the wrap, and it attaches here as it turns into the straight centre, well, not centre front, but a straight line. And obviously by moving the dart up, got darts on my mind, the tie, by moving it up, it was going to be attached at an angle, and that was going to look very strange. So what I ended up doing was I had to slice off a bit of this overlap so that I could move my tie upwards and it would still be on that straight line there. Right, just had to adjust myself. Yeah, so once I did that, it was fine. And there's enough of an overlap here at the front that it actually really wasn't a problem. It did also mean that I had to move the belt loops. So I don't know if you can see, but there's a belt loop there, and there should be a belt loop on this side, and then there are belt loops on the back. And once I'd raised the ties, the belt loops were sitting too low. So I unpicked them and raised them up, and there are some missing. And I must have got busy or got distracted, and I only put this, repositioned the belt loop here and one of the ones at the back, and then left it. And I only noticed that I had 2 missing belt loops the morning that I left to go to the gathering. So at my back, I have ended up, there's my one belt loop, and there's no belt loop on that side. So I ended up just tying it over. And did anybody come up to me at the do and say, you've got a missing belt loop? No. Maybe they noticed, but nobody was that bothered. So at some point, when I get a moment, I'll reposition the 2 missing belt loops, but I think it's fine. Little niggle with the ties. I personally, tell me what you think, I personally think they should be a bit longer, or maybe I don't turn it into a bow and I just have it as a knot, but I feel that they're a little bit stubby. But yeah, nitpicking really. So super happy with it. Would definitely make some more. It's a really nice set of instructions as well, which is always a good thing. So yes, I made this 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks ago before I got really busy. But in the last week, I've had little snatches of time and I have actually managed to finish making something else I really want to show you. So I saw this image on good old Instagram from a company that I think are called Never Fully Dressed. And it's a shirt and it's made out of a print, which is a combination of bandanas, you know, scarf bandanas. And I thought, I really like that and I think I could make that. So I ordered from Amazon a pack of 12 bandanas and I pieced them together and I made myself a shirt. Let me show you. So, dun, da, 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 here it is. I am going to quickly change out of this dress and put some jeans on and show you how it looks. So here it is, and I have to say I really like it. It is quite different to my usual thing. I guess it's a lot brighter and a bit more out there than I would normally wear. There's lots of colours in here that I wouldn't normally wear. When I bought the pack of bandanas, it did say on the description that you just get a mixed assortment. You don't get to choose the colour combination you get. So it was a bit of suck it and see, and I did reject one of them. But I took some video along the way, just in case anybody's interested in seeing how I did it and kind of the size of the bandanas when they come and all of that sort of thing. So I will insert some of that now. So these are the scarves I've got, and I have put all of them in the washing machine and I have tumble dried them. When they arrived, they were quite stiff, and they are now not anything like as stiff as they were when they came. But I think from memory there were 12 in the packet. And I've done a quick rough calculation and I think I need 11. So I need to reject one, and I'm pretty sure that it's this one in the foreground, this yellow one, just because when I look at the colours all together, it's the one that sort of jars the most. And I've been thinking about how I piece them together. So they come with a very sort of rough hemming all around, narrow hem. So I could join it with that still in place, and I was thinking I could have that on the inside as you normally would. So join the two pieces together, but keep that so it would be, I suppose, have a bit of texture to it. Or I could even do it the other way around and have that on the outside facing out. But I just think it would look too scrappy, and yeah, I'm just not entirely convinced. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to sit down in my chair and unpick. Okay, so I've unpicked all the edges on each one of my scarves, and I have just trimmed them so that they are relatively even. I'm not too worried about everything being absolutely perfect. These prints are not entirely square. I don't know if you can see, but it kind of bows in a bit and then it goes out. I'm not too worried about that. I think that's okay. I've just joined these two here. So I've sewn them and then overlocked it and pressed it to one side. Okay, probably need to press it a little bit better. And then once I've done that, I'm going to join these two here along the bottom edge of this green one. Okay, so I've now cut out all my pieces. This is what they look like on the inside, where I've joined it, overlocked it and pressed. This is the back. So I'm pretty pleased with all of these joins. Yeah, so you can see it wasn't too onerous making it, and actually the piecing together of the well, the worst of it really was unpicking those little fine hems, edges around the scarf. But once I'd done that, it came together quite nicely. And because I've only had little snatches of time, it's been quite a nice little project to work on. You know, I've just had an hour here or there to nip in here and put them all together. I tried to make everything kind of clashing. My only niggle, I'm going to talk about the pattern in a sec, is that I think the sleeve is a smidge short for me. 5'7", I'm not massively tall, but only a smidge. So, as you may know, I love to make button-up shirts, and I obviously have got quite a lot of patterns, so I certainly didn't need to buy a new one, but I really was tempted by this pattern. It is from Pattern Emporium and it is called All at the beginning. Hold on. All In. It's the All In shirt from Pattern Emporium. And the reason I wanted to buy this pattern is I think they are brilliant with their instructions, Pattern Emporium. So whilst I am pretty proficient at making shirts, thought I'd say it myself, if anybody fancies making a shirt and it's something you haven't done before and you want the kind of instructions that are really going to hold your hand all the way through, you cannot go wrong with Pattern Emporium for their instructions. They are brilliant. But the thing that drew me to it is that it's the only time I've come across a shirt pattern where you have the option to do, which is what I did, the collar with collar stand, but you also have an option with, I think they call it a classic collar, I would call it a camp collar, which is a lot easier to put in. I'll put some images in. A lot easier to construct. So if you wanted to kind of, you know, have a go at making a shirt and start with the easier option, and then you get comfortable with it and you want to move on to doing something a little bit more complex, this is a great pattern to choose. There will be a link below, and I am an affiliate for Pattern Emporium, by the way. Normally with Pattern Emporium patterns, you can, quite often they'll tell you that the pattern will work with other patterns in their range. So quite often you've got interchangeable sleeves and that sort of thing. I can't remember with this one. It's worth having a look at their website to check that out. But yeah, they always give you lots and lots of options, which is absolutely brilliant. The yoke is a single yoke, so they went for the easy option. But if you wanted to do a burrito, don't forget I have got a burrito method tutorial if you want to do the double yoke, which is what I did. I'm pretty pleased that I've actually made an entire shirt for £10. I don't think that I would get fabric for £10. It is cotton, it's pretty lightweight. I feel like it's just that, you know, if I was going on holiday and I wanted something to just throw over, you know, your bikini or your swimsuit for when you kind of go off to get an ice cream, I feel it's that kind of a thing. Anyway, I'm really, really pleased with it. So I've just come down here to take some photographs and some footage to insert, and I've just remembered there are two things that I meant to say that I forgot, so I thought I'd quickly come on and say them. One is that if you have an idea to do something a bit like I've done recently, where you've seen an image in the shops or from a designer or something like that, and you want to recreate it, there is an Instagram challenge on at the moment which is called So Recreate the Look. It's run by Jen Legg and someone else, can't remember, I'll put a title. I could possibly include this in that challenge, but it turns out that the reveal day for that is at the end of the month, and I didn't want to wait until then to show it to you because otherwise I wouldn't have much to say this week, and I have just made it. So I wanted to let you know that it's a really nice challenge to have a look at and to get inspiration. And the other thing that I realised I didn't mention at all is that I met lots of people at the gathering at the weekend. It was really good fun. Lots of people that have watched me here on YouTube, lots of people that I've met a long time ago and we haven't seen each other because of the dreaded pandemic. It was really, really nice to meet lots of new sewing people. I'm hoping that Sam and Ali will organise it as an annual event, but it's easy for me to say because I'm not doing the organising. But yeah, so anybody that I met at the weekend, I'm sure we had great fun. It was really nice to talk to lots of people. So, meant to say that. Anyway, I'll probably cut to me back up there now. And just before I go, there is a new pattern that I wanted to show you because I have, and it's also Pattern Emporium, I have been planning to make something that was very similar to a denim jacket for spring summer. I don't really have, I'm kind of missing a kind of in-betweeny jacket. And at the weekend when we went over to the gathering, some of us met during the day at Fabworks in Dewsbury, and then we also went to Lucky Fashions in Dewsbury. I kind of had my eyes looking for a denim or a drill or a twill that was a kind of beigey, neutral sort of colour. Didn't see any at Fabworks, and then we went to Lucky Fashions. I have to say, if you're ever in Yorkshire, ever anywhere near Dewsbury, go and see Manjit at Lucky Fashions. Honestly, she is the only owner of a fabric shop who says the words, "Would you like a cup of tea?" when you walk in the door. First thing she does is go and put the kettle on. She's such a nice lady, she really is. Anyway, while I was there, I had a look for the same sort of thing, couldn't find anything. However, if I had found the fabric, this is the pattern that I would make, because literally the next day Pattern Emporium started showing images of it. So I think it's a brilliant one. I'm not going to make it because I committed a cardinal sin. It was my birthday yesterday and I went shopping and I have bought, I know, I actually feel like I need to confess it because I feel guilty. I have bought a jacket. I know I always say that I am allowed, give myself permission to go and buy a few things, but I always feel really guilty, especially when it is something that I could make. Anyway, so I won't be making it, but if you do want to make one, this is a brilliant pattern, just because, as I said earlier, their instructions are always fantastic and they always give you lots and lots of options. So you've got the standard denim jacket look, but you've also got an option with a gathered sleeve. I think there are a couple of different lengths, so you can have a sort of super crop or a kind of regular length, and there's an option I think to have a gathered waistband and this regular standard waistband. There's some beautiful, beautiful images on their website where people have made it out of linen, which I think would look wonderful. So just thought I would share that pattern, because had I not have been very naughty and bought one, I would have been making this, and I think lots of you might like it because it's just been released. I promise you this isn't sponsored, although yes, I am an affiliate, but it's not sponsored or anything. But because the pattern has just been released, there is a 15% discount on it, but I suspect that's for a limited time, so it would be worth going and checking to see whether that's relevant at the time you watch this video. But I think it's a really, really nice pattern, so I definitely wanted to mention it. So that's where I'm at now. I have got a ton of new fabric. I have got a ton of ideas. I don't know what I'm going to be making, but I will be here next week to show you. So thank you very much. Please let me know in the comments below whether you think I ought to go to the bother of unpicking those ties on that Soho dress and making them longer, because I have got a little bit of fabric left over. You know what I'm hoping you're going to say. Anyway, I will see you next week. Thank you very much. Bye bye.